as the Republican Party gets set to take over the House in next week's elections, probably, especially with signs they're dominating early voting. The much-hyped Tea Party may not be as successful as originally thought. According to Politico, Nevada's Sharon Angle, Kentucky's Rand Paul, Alaska's Joe Miller, and Colorado's Ken Buck, well, they're all in virtually dead heats. To be fair, only one of the many Tea Party candidates, that's Delaware's Christine O'Donnell, is really getting hammered in the polls. Time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Leslie Marshall is a Fox News contributor in Los Angeles. S.C. Cupp is a conservative columnist. And Andy Levy is the ombudsman for Red Eye on the Fox News channel. Leslie, let's start with you. What do you make about these Tea Party folks?
Well, honestly, I think in the beginning, people were like, I want anybody that's not who we have. So the campaign was vote for me because I'm not them. But I think in days before the election, many Americans have woken up to say, wait a minute, do we want to put anybody in who's not them, especially if they're not experienced? And I think the ads have worn off a bit. So I think they've woken up.
Are the ads wearing off, Essie?
No, Leslie is a little sanguine. You know, this always happens a week before the elections, the polls tighten. But, I mean, this is sort of an experiment for the Tea Partiers. And I think what happens on Tuesday will set the tone for what's going to happen the next 2 years. If they do well, then they have to really work hard to keep that momentum up. If they don't do well, then they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and look at the candidates they put up.
Andy.
Well, part of that political story is just flat out wrong. Rand Paul, I think, is up 13 points in the latest poll that came out today, and he's kind of pulling away.
More updated polling.
Right. It may be because all the people who are not voting for him are getting their heads stomped. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, he's way up now.
You saw the video, didn't you?
Yeah, and the thing about Christine O'Donnell is you can't even count her because she's such an incredibly bad candidate. I mean, the one thing candidates have complete control over is their own ads. Have you seen Chris Coons' latest ad? He uses Christine O'Donnell's ad, I'm not a witch ad, against her. How bad of a candidate do you have to be to have your own ad used against you?
It's been so controversial. All right, well, let's stay with this political theme here. Candidates for this election cycle on track to top $2 billion in spending for the first time. The Washington Post points out that equals $4 million per seat. Essie, where is the sanity here?
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, very disconcerting because we're broke. On the other, though, I mean, the economy is so bad right now. This is why we are politically engaged in ways that I haven't seen in a really long time, because we're feeling very threatened. It's dire straits. So it's not surprising that you're seeing a lot of campaigns emptying their pocketbooks in effort to promote their messages. They realize that we're hungry for some real change halfway between 2008 and 2012.
Leslie, is it hunger for change, or do people just have a lot of money they want to unload?
Well, I think the sad thing here is what I'm hearing from the right is that they want to take their country back, and especially from these corporations that seem to have been running it. But these are the same corporations that are helping Republicans spend $30 million more than Democrats to get those seats. It's a sad statement. Is it if you're rich enough, the one with the most money rather than toys wins? Sad state of affairs for the future of the American people.
Andy, does money buy it?
And money might buy it, but look, I don't think this is actually a Republican or a Democratic issue. I think this is the year that incumbents learned that they can't take it for granted that their seat is a lifetime appointment. Regardless of what you think of the Tea Parties, regardless of what you think of Harry, right, exactly, and that's a good thing. And finally, you're seeing entrenched incumbents who are actually having to spend money to battle for their seats, and it's not their seat anymore.
They don't own it. That's right. Well, you gotta love that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you need to prove that you deserve the seat. That's for sure. All right, the campaign supporting a Nevada constitutional amendment says the phone company they use to make automated calls wrongly programmed the time to call for between, get this, midnight and 1:15 a.m. Ouch. They later sent out more calls at a reasonable hour, and they apologized. But Andy, come on, people aren't going to vote for your candidate if you're calling them in the middle of the night.
I'm an insomniac. I was surprised to find out that for some people 1:15 is the wee hours of the morning. That's kind of when I start getting going.
That's why they call it Red Eye.
Right. But here's what I like about this story. The company responsible for the calls, the head of the company apologized, and the guy said, quote, "It was entirely our fault." You don't see that anymore. Nowadays, you get apologies like, "Oh, I apologize if anyone was offended by what I said or what I did." This guy gave a flat-out, "We screwed up, it was our fault" apology. I would hire these guys in a heartbeat.
We need an apology award, Essie.
Something like that, or maybe just less apologies. Really, stop doing stuff wrong. No, I mean, phone rings at midnight and you automatically think, who died? Terrible, and I can't imagine a whole lot of enthusiasm and interest on the other end of those calls at midnight.
Leslie?
If it's 1:15 in the morning or 1:15 in the afternoon, I'm really into people working and not machines. So if you're a machine and you call my house, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or what you're pushing, I hang up on you. You want to call me, get a live person, please.
Amen to that, sister. All right, the king of pop is the king of dead celebrities. That just sounds so bad.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson now ranks #1 on Forbes magazine's list of top earning dead celebrities. Ouch. Over the past year, his estate made $275 million, more than everyone on the list combined. My favorite, Elvis Presley, came in at #2. Essie.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's not like any of these people were not famous and not wealthy when they were living. You have to feel for someone like Vincent van Gogh, who didn't sell a painting during his lifetime and only found fame and recognition after he died. At least these people got a taste of the fruits of their labor while they were alive.
Leslie?
It's scaring me, SC, because I was going to use Van Gogh as an example that you have actually read my mind on this.
The left and the right, they come together.
But I'll tell you, I think that song for Michael Jackson, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, has to be changed to it doesn't matter if you're dead or alive, because I do agree with SC that these are some people that made a lot of money in life and in death, but Beethoven and Van Gogh, etc., weren't truly appreciated until after they died, so this has been going on a long time.
Andy, I don't feel like I'm appreciated. Do you feel like you're appreciated?
I know I will be much more appreciated when I'm dead because I will be slightly appreciated. So that's a good thing. But that's a good, it's always been a good career move to die. This isn't new. It just is. The weirdest thing about this list to me, Steve McQueen was on it, which I think is kind of cool, but he's on it because companies like Dolce & Gabbana are using his image, and they've got a $238 hoodie with his picture on it, which I just feel goes against everything that his image stood for. So I don't really get that, yeah.
Icky. I like Steve McQueen. All right, I'm alone in that. Okay, next story.
Agreed.
The women on the panel say yes. Okay, next story. A Pennsylvania man called 911 to complain about some nasty marijuana he bought. He said he bought what he thought was pot earlier in the day. Ding dong. He could face a charge of possessing a counterfeit controlled substance if only being stupid was a criminal offense. Andy.
Yeah, this is one of those stories where you just, if you told Darwin this story, he would then say, yeah, forget everything I said. This guy is just, it's just the dumbest thing ever. But I don't get it. Possessing a counterfeit controlled substance, put this guy in jail for abusing 911 or for excessive stupidity, but not for having a bag of oregano. How is that a crime?
Oregano.
Yeah.
Shocking.
That'll get you every time. Look, caveat emptor. Buyer beware. I mean, you don't always get what you pay for, whether it's legal or not. Sorry. I've wanted to return many a shoe from a shoe sale, and you know, sale's over, no returns, no exchanges.
Yeah, but you do freaky things with the shoes too.
I do.
Do
But
we want to know what that is?
But
No,
they're legal.
You really don't.
Okay. Leslie, please save me.
Well, this is why we need to legalize drugs to save the 911 operators, if nothing else. And in addition to that, come on, guys, work with me. You're talking about sexy things with shoes, okay? I had to do something to get us out of that. And then on top of it, though, I think this is a pure example of this is your brain and this is your brain on drugs. So it'll help the PSA along a bit.
But his brain wasn't even on drugs. His brain was on oregano.
Right.
Which
This is your brain on. This is your brain on oregano.
You don't know what he was smoking before the oregano.
That makes so much sense to me, Andy. I find it scary. All right. Thanks, Leslie, Essie, and Andy. Thanks.